And so we then decided, how could we put more, apart from dealing with these issues, how could we put more money into people's pockets and also to get more people employed? So another point we had made in the period when we got back in, we were campaigning, we said that we lost about 30,000 jobs on the APNU before COVID. And then maybe 35,000 jobs in the sugar industry, in mining, in the forestry sector, in many parts of the country. And in the COVID period, we lost about 40,000 jobs too. In the first few months when the country was shut down, nobody could work. So we said a big priority is to create more jobs for people. And we campaigned on a promise to generate 50,000 new jobs. So why did we lose jobs in that period? If you look at the mining sector, a lot of the miners stopped when they started increase the taxes on machinery and equipment. The miners said, we now have to pay more taxes there. The tributous tax was increased, and then the royalty that the miners had to pay was increased. Although they campaigned in 2015 and told the miners, you're paying too much taxes, they increased all of that. We removed that. So a lot of the miners, they lost a lot from the mining. Now we have another problem with mining, is the rainfall. Places are flooded out everywhere. In the last 15 months, we've had unusual rainfall, but that's different. That's because of the rain. So we lost there. In the forestry sector alone, in 2020, we were producing 50% of what we were producing in 2014. It means that production fell by 50%. And we lost jobs there too. So we came back hoping to generate more jobs, and that's what we've been doing. So in COVID, we had a dual policy. We said we're not going to go the route like Trinidad and the others, where they shut down the country for over a year. We said we will deal with the pandemic, but we'll open up the country. We were one of the few airports in the whole world that remained open throughout the COVID period. And we started reopening. So a lot of people who lost their job, the taxi drivers, the people, the nightclubs, the people who were serving and all of that, they could have gone back to work, but in limited fashion, controlled fashion. And a lot of people started working back again. And then we started putting in place the infrastructure to generate more jobs. So in the short term, we said we had to give a boost to employment creation because we wanted to put more money in people's pockets. That is why we've launched the part-time program and the employment program. So far, 11,000 people have been hired by the government on a part-time work scheme. They work 10 days a month for $40,000. So they can, in this region, it's about 3,000. I was just here to launch it a few months back. But a lot in region 10, in Linden alone, which had no jobs there, in the town alone, not the whole region, we had about 1,000 people who were employed in that program, who were not working before. And so suddenly they started getting an income. So that has started cushioning the income. A lot of women have applied to the program. So what we find now is that the families can now have two incomes. Because in the United States, if you go to those countries, people talk about them, but both the husband and the wife, they're working, and often the children, and sometimes 3 times a day. You hear Grandma saying we're rich now, we're producing oil, we don't have to work anymore. In the United States of America, they're the richest country, but they work 3 jobs every day sometimes. So we can't bother with these crazy people. So this is what we've been trying to do. So now suddenly, in say Barbados, where the sugar industry was shut down, where Skelland and Rose Hall, they lost 3,000 jobs and have to shut down the industry. Right here at Wales, We lost 1,700 jobs when they shut down the factory, sold out the equipment. Now we are trying to, because we can't reopen anything. They sold the factory as scrap, and it was removed. And they gave out the land. Some people, they gave out 5,000 acres of land there, like to one person, to plant coconut. We haven't seen a single coconut plant as yet there. We're looking for land now. In this region, we have 14,000 people who have applied for house lots. 14,000 in Region 3 alone. We don't have, because APNU didn't do much for housing. Before the no confidence motion, not a single new house lot. But a few big guys got lots of big pieces of land. After the no confidence motion, they did 4,000. Because they were rushing now, they knew they had to go to elections. 4,000. In the first year, we did 11,000 house lots. And we promised in our manifesto when we campaigned 50,000. But in this region alone, when you look at the application, 14,000. We don't have much land at this end, so we have to get most of it is private land. So Wales, we are now trying to take back some of the land here. A 5,000 acre given to one man can do 20,000 house lots. You can get at least 4 house lots, maybe even 5 house lots if you do smaller house lots from 1 acre. And so we're busy doing that because we want to do all 14,000 house lots in this region in the 5 years so that everybody who have applied can get a plot of land too. That's what we're basically doing. So I was telling you about the jobs. So that alone has put back a lot of income into people's pockets. It will be about $10–12 billion now going into people's pockets from the part-time jobs alone, and more people are employed. Secondly, we promise to put back more money in people's pocket, but the children and their families. Now, you recall one of our biggest complaints in opposition was then APNU took away the 10,000 grant from the children, claiming they couldn't afford it. But we showed when they were spending on food supplies alone, more than $1.6 billion. That is what it cost to cover the $10,000 per child grant. We had 167,000 public school kids at that time. And we complained about it. So we said, we will if we return to office, we're not going to bring it back at 10,000. We want to increase it to 50,000 per child every year. In the first 2 years, it's now 25,000 because we have more than doubled the school uniform grant. It used to be $2,000 in 2020. Now it's 5,000. So if you look at this year's, if you have a child in school, they would have received $30,000, and it's going to go to 50,000 before the end of the term. 30,000 by over 200,000 children, because we've now given the grant to children in private schools. In the past, in 2014, it was only those who were in government schools, but we're giving it to all the children now. So if you multiply 30,000 per child this year by 200,000, you get over $6 billion. That's $6 billion in the pockets of the parents and the children that they didn't have when APNU left office. That they didn't have. That gives more income to people, putting in more income into people's pockets. Then, on the pension, we promised to double old age pension. It was 20,000. We said in 5 years, we'll double old age pension. If you look at a $1,000 increase in pension, and public assistance, every $1,000 increase that the pensioners get, and the others, the 2 public assistants, it costs the budget about $1 billion. We've increased it by 40% in the first 2 years. That's $8,000. That's about $8 billion more to our pensioners that they're getting that when they didn't have in August when we took office. So Pension alone and the grant to the children, that's over $14 billion given back to our people, the pensioners and the children alone. And then over 10 billion through the part-time jobs now. That's 25 billion dollars that we are putting back into the system. And then we reduce the taxes by another 40 billion by removing the VAT on a lot of items. We also decided that we wanted to help the different groups, the different industries. So the farmers, we met with the farmers, their biggest cost has gone up because fertilizer prices. We removed the VAT on the fertilizer and pesticides, but the prices went up because fertilizer is made from oil. So once the oil prices go up, the urea prices will go up. And so now we set aside $1 billion to help the farmers so that they can get fertilizer. We can help reduce their costs so that they can also make a good living. And we remove we revert the taxes that APNU did. So if you're in Region 5, say MMA, and you own a piece of land there, the taxes and the water and the other taxes, the water charges and other taxes, was about $3,500 per acre per year. APNU took it to $15,000. Now, most of the people couldn't go back to the land. We removed it, we took it back to the old rate. So we've been helping the farmers too. We decided that a COVID grant, we had to give a COVID grant. That was another nearly $10 billion. So that was for households. You recall going to each household. That was another $10 billion putting back into the system. And because all of this has happened, because now you see more people returning to work, we have labor shortages in some parts of the country. Some skill types, like if you're in construction now, we have a huge shortage of skilled labor. We have a shortage of contractors. And so in other areas we have surplus employment, like in the regions, but in Region 4 particularly, and parts of 3, can't find labor. So I'm telling you all of this to point out that we've been busy fulfilling our promises, also trying to tackle things like the cost of living, generate more jobs. On education, we promised 20,000 scholarships. We've already done 11,000 scholarships. I told you about housing. We're on the course to do 50,000 lots, but we're not only going to do the lots. We now started a building program where we'll be building houses because we recognize a lot of people want these houses that are built already, that they can then come in and secure a mortgage with the bank and take over that. We've even launched a program to cushion the cost of living, that if you're building a low-income house, the government, to cushion the increase in prices, the government will give you free steel for the foundation and 1 sling of cement. So that was announced at the Building Expo, and you can get that too. We decided that we're not going to only do this in the housing schemes. So if you got a plot of land that you got from your father, and anywhere in the country, Delamstel, Parika, Zealot, Iflot, and you want a house built on it, the government will build the house and then take you to the bank, and then the bank will ensure that you get a mortgage, so you end up paying back the bank and you get your house built. Because we did this because a lot of people could not afford to make the initial deposit at the bank. So I hope that people explore all of these new initiatives that we've been launching so that they can improve themselves. Now, in the long run, we've also, so it has been a busy 2 years fulfilling the promises, but also thinking about the future. And that is why you've seen we already awarded 7 new hospitals. A new one will be built here on West Coast, a stone throw away from here, a modern hospital with CT scan, everything. Best will be upgraded. There's 6 other hospitals across the country, across the coast, and a modern children and maternal hospital at Ogle to cater only for specialized cases for women and children, complicated cases. These are high quality care, world-class care. We're on infrastructure set already. You see the 4-lane road. We've had just 2 years in office. And 2 years with COVID, we've had to come in office. When we left government, we left the West Coast Road. I have to finish it off. The East Coast Road, if you look at the Sheriff Street, that piece, all of those were contracts that were left under PP. They didn't start any new contract. We came into office, we had to conceptualize, do the feasibility study, award the contract, raise the financing, and got the projects on the way. We've already started the 4-lane from Georgetown to Diamond, and hopefully within a year you'll be able to drive on a 4-lane coming from Diamond. I don't know, you've probably seen some of the images of that happening. We've already awarded a 4-lane from Crane here to the bridge, so you can bypass New Amsterdam. Within 2 years you don't have to worry about New Amsterdam. I'm reading the requirements today. Give me some coffee. Give me my coffee. Give me coffee. I'm running low on my coffee. Oh, it's up here. Yeah, I started drifting. I have a lot of meetings more, and I won't keep you too long, the cricket, today. But you're getting the check, so you wouldn't be able to use the money unless you hurry to the bank. Right? It's checked. So, my God. Some people in Barbie, as soon as we gave them, they had a chutney show that night. Some of them borrowed against the check. So I was telling you, so that's done. You'll be able to, in 2 years' time, use that. So you don't have congestion at Vredenhoek. And the bridge has been awarded, a 4-lane high-rise bridge. That's $260 million US. But for the next 100 years, we don't have to worry about bridge opening up and all of that. And you know what that has done? That has changed the whole of West Coast, because suddenly if the businessmen know that we can land a container on this side of the river, that is why you have nearly a 400 million US investment that will take place at Vredenhoek. They're reclaiming the land, going out into the sea to put up a modern port there. And a lot of the containers would land there just on this side. They're reclaiming, going into the sea, 100 acres into the sea. And that has started, the dredging has started, it has affected some of the fishermen. It will not go on forever, because the construction phase might affect some people. But it's going to generate 3,000 jobs here. 3,000 jobs alone, very good paying jobs on this side. The whole waterfront, from there all the way to Wales, would be developed, like the Georgetown side, because now you have a big bridge. So this the industrialization will take place on the Region 3 side, because we don't have much land on the other side, and it's very expensive. You try to buy a small property in a Georgetown waterfront property, it runs you $2-3 million US. So that's why people are shifting. The Wales project, when we bring that pipeline in, that will generate thousands of new jobs. All the workers around here were laid off, because the pipeline would come in, the power plant will be done, we'd have enough power to supply the country, because right now no investments were made on the APNO. They killed the hydro. We'd have enough power, and the price will be 50% of what it is now. In about 2 years' time, we hope. By end 2024, that will be completed. And so we'll have stable, cheap power for the industries and for our people. So all of that development will take place because of this. And to put that together, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, you need a feasibility study. We've had the feasibility study. Right now, we're selling electricity. It costs about 30 US cents per kilowatt hour. one of the highest in the region. And to buy the fuel alone, that is the bunker C cost 13.3 cents per kilowatt hour. For US cents per kilowatt hour. That's nearly $30 Ghana. Just to pay for the fuel, we'll be able to generate, pay for the, bring in the gas, pay back for the power plant, and generate the power at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. $10. So even if we sell it at 15 cents, we'll be making money, but it will be 50% less than what you're paying now. That is the feasibility of this project. And that project would allow us the gas when it comes in. Once you dry the gas to put in the power plant, you get cooking gas from it. So we start exporting rather than importing cooking gas in a few years' time. So that will push down the price of cooking gas here and the cost of living to our people once that project is completed. We've just been working hard since we got into office to get it to the stage. Now we've done all the studies, now we just got the bid, we're assessing the bid now, and hopefully before the end of the year the construction will start on that project. That will change this whole country, but also this region. We're doing the same. We just awarded a contract to do a 4-lane road on the railway embankment from Sheriff Street up close to Mahaika, my village. 4-lane, that's been awarded because East Coast is very, very populated too, like West Coast, Region 3, because we need this network. We're doing a road from Linden to Mabura that has been awarded. Within months, we're going to award the project, nearly a 200 million project from the Sioux Dyke Junction into Linden. We're bridging the river in Linden itself, doing a 4-lane bridge there. So we're spending a lot of time building the infrastructure of the future too. If you want this country to change, you have to have modern infrastructure. Already, we've had 7 new hotels are under construction like the Marriott. And I anticipate that in future, many will come to Region 3 too because the proximity. 7 new hotels now. We need about 3,000 people to work only in those hotels. So a lot of the plans are rolling out. I'm telling you this because I want you as fishermen too, to know what's going on and what the challenges are. And sometimes you have mad people who haven't run a single thing. I don't pay too much attention to the opposition. Tell you why? Because the opposition has been in control, PNC has been in control of Parliament for nearly 36 years from 64. 36 years. Why I say that? 28 years. If you add the 5 years when they were in office, 28 years up to 1992, the 5 years when in the last government, and then the 3 years from 2011 to 2015, from the end of 2011 to 2015, when they had a 1-seat majority in Parliament. So they've controlled the Parliament for 36 years versus PPP 22 years. In 1992, that's how you judge governments. This country was considered one of the poorest in the world, the most heavily burdened in terms of per capita debt. We were using over 100% of revenue in servicing debt alone. When we left office in 2015, we were the fastest, without oil, we were the fastest growing economy in this region, without oil. And our debt today is 16% of GDP or foreign debt, not 900%. And we're not using 100% of revenue to pay debts now. We're using 6% of revenue to pay debts. That is what we did. But it took a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment over years to bring the country to this. So you got to plan for the future. You can't just blow in the wind. Everybody says populist thing, like you listen to Granlal, they know everything under the sun, but never run a cake shop, basically. You know, I put a guy running a cake shop ahead of many of them who talk about running country. Because at least they got to do work, you know, and try to, at the end of the day, you have a lot of talk in this country now. Talk and lies. We got to stay the course. And so this brings me, I'm not, as I said before, many of you might want to go to cricket, maybe another day. But you know, fishermen, you don't catch them often, they're always at sea. So today you're captive here, that's why I'm using the opportunity. I don't get to talk to you much. So that's why I'm utilizing, they're always at sea. But you gotta be engaged too. You gotta read about what's happening in our country, you gotta listen, choose the right thing. Social media is full of nonsense and good things too. You got to be able to make your own choices, decisions, because it's your lives. Your lives. And don't listen to people. Every day they try to divide this country. If people had bothered with APNU, they would have never applied to the scholarship, Afro-Guyanese. Now more than half of the people who got scholarships since we got back into office are Afro-Guyanese because they applied. So you heard a person like Simona Broom saying, the people will never give them. Simona Broom's got two kids who got over $30 million in scholarships. Over 30 million. They were not Guyana scholars. They're Don Hayes, not Don Hayes, what's the other one? No, Kamita, but the other one from Public Works, I can forget. Annette Ferguson said, don't apply. Annette had a scholarship, over $2 million herself, and posting don't apply. Luckily, young Afro-Guyanese kids ignored them and applied, and now they're working, studying, they got a scholarship. If you listen, they did it for themselves. In Linden, I went there and they said, oh, we don't want part-time jobs, the 1,000 part-time jobs, we want full-time jobs. But in 5 years, they never generated a single job in here because the call center that was built under the PPP, they shut it down. And 6 weeks after they got into office, 80-something people lost their jobs that I had opened, the call center. Housing, nothing. Guess who got the land? After the no confidence motion, after the election, Jordan transferred big plots of land to Lowenfield. Lowenfield got 200 acres. On 200 acres, you can do 1,000 house lots in Linden. At Millie's Hideout. 200 acres he got just in June of 2019 or 2020 or something, just before the election, he got it. But the Figueras and the others, they got land transferred to them. What about ordinary people in Linden? So now the president went there, we're doing 1,000 plots there, and 1,000 homes would be built here, and in Amelia's ward, another 400 have been opened up. So 1,400 would be built in that area. 1,400 people will benefit. But if you listen to them, you think nothing will happen here. So this is the problem. You saw the big controversy recently with iPadity. I pointed out that they received $500 million, over 500 million of taxpayers' money to assist Afro-Guyanese. And when you check, not a cent went to ordinary people. Took it all for themselves. They don't want to account for it. When I call for them to account for it, they say I'm racist. Racist. So this is it. We can't be bothered. The reason why the PPP is been in office a long time and continue to be is because we work for our country, our people. And they're all of our people, regardless of their race and who they voted for. That is how you develop a country. And that is what we're about. And so today, this brings me now to the help for people. So when we did the farmers' flood relief, a lot of people who never planted a borer suddenly became a farmer. Never before. And so we had a hard time. Some people, the majority of people who were farmers and lost stuff, they got help. And some people who didn't lose anything, they managed to stick through the system. and others who might have been legitimate, they didn't get on. So guess who gets the blame? It is the government. Anytime people rip you off on the ground, but if you have 70,000 people, how would we know who was farming and who had lost anything on the ground? You have to rely on the communities. And so we had a hard time and we got blamed for it. So this time around, when you would have noticed that it's been a while since we announced the grant to the fishermen, but we've been trying to get to the bottom of it to see that we don't have a repetition of it. So what has happened is that we've been trying to verify as much as possible. We put the documents in the public at the NDC office and we said, object. So today, if you don't object to anybody, don't come and complain later. Don't come and say, and you sit down next to a man who was never a fisherman. Don't come and tell us about that because we don't know. You gotta object now. Or alternately, if anybody here who is a fisherman who did not get on the list, you get up and say that I'm a fisherman and I'm not on the list. People will watch you. Once we can verify, you will get on. Once we can verify anybody who didn't get on, right? So today is the last opportunity for that. So now the bulk of the people here will receive their checks. There are very few who will receive, but we have to do some additional verification on. But the bulk of the people will be here. And so we've had a tough period. Some moved from being farmers to fishermen now. The last time the flood relief, they were farmers. This round they're fishermen now. Right? So, you know when money is given out by government, what happens? We don't want to get the blame. This is an initiative to help people with the cost of living, the catch. I know a lot, I said this yesterday, or 2 days ago to Usikna, that the fish didn't run away when the oil and gas industry came to Ghana. Trinidad had been doing oil and gas for over 100 years. And stuff. The fish, I'm sorry now, they've started solely and now drilling and all of that. The fish didn't run away, so don't worry, Glenn. The thing is that I grew up in a village, fishing village. My village used to be farming in Unity, and then in the PNC period, all the drains got clogged up. We couldn't get irrigation water to farm. So everybody went into fishing. So I know growing up as a boy, there are seasons when you go out there and you catch nothing. The boats used to come back empty, and it's a long time back. They come back empty. Now, with climate change, we could get 7 inches of rainfall in a night, what we used to get in a whole month in the past. In Georgetown, when the colonial period, Georgetown was designed to handle 2 inches of rainfall in 24 hours. That's why the big canals were down. You see on Main Street, where you have that little walkway, Main Street, Camp Street, those used to be canals that they fill in and build walkways. So now, you don't have much storage in the city. Those used to be water storage area. When the tide turns, you take out the water. So imagine if you have 7 inches of rainfall. What happens? The water accumulates. Because at the best period, the drainage system was designed only to tackle 2 inches in 24 hours of rainfall. So with all of this rain falling, the last 12, 14 months, a huge volumes of fresh water coming down and going into the sea. Fish, they're very sensitive to salinity issues, the saltiness of the water and stuff. So we can expect lots of changes in the future. And that's why I'm talking to the young people. A lot of you are young fishermen. You got to think, I just outlined a few things. Maybe another time I can talk about the future, where Guyana will be in the future, what will be the high-paying jobs in the future. So each of you can't rely only on fishing, especially the younger ones. You got to have another profession. You gotta have another profession, because if you want to get wealthy or get a comfortable life, you can't take chances. You know, one time you catch, another time you don't catch. So there will be, the government will provide every opportunity for you to get another skill. There are lots of programs now that we are paying for. The carpenters, you can't get enough in the country. Welders. Now with the gas pipeline, a good welder could make $2,500 a month, US dollars a month. A good welder. You can be trained and certified as a welder within a year. The plumbers, electricians, these are huge areas with shortages of skills. You make $8,000, $10,000 a day working on that now, and it will even increase in the future. So a lot of the guys here, you can't just sit at the corner shop and, you know, just fishing. You go out there and relax while you're waiting on the tide and the sea. You know, the tide to turn and you to come back in. You got to start thinking about what else I want to do in life and utilize the scholarship opportunities, the training opportunities that government will provide. We need this badly. And that's the only way you will prosper, because other people who are making that effort, they will prosper, and then you will become dissatisfied. You will say, oh, this man doing better than me. Because a lot of people are making a little bit of sacrifices by training and doing other things and stuff like that. On small business too, we can assist, because we want to get small businesses growing. We've been helping with some grants and technical advice. You have to start thinking differently. So today we're going to, I hope that, again, you will utilize the grant fully. It's a small sum. I hope that many of you will get open bank accounts. So if the government has in the future to pay any money, it could pay directly into your bank accounts. We got to start modernizing the system now. Modernizing, that you have all your documents. We go many places, people are not, they don't have documents, they don't have ID card, they don't have a birth certificate. We can help with all of that. We have a team of people. I have from my office a few people here and the others, but Dwayne and Shalini are from my office. And if you have any other issue outside of the grant that you want me to follow up on, give them your name and number. I wouldn't have the time today, but they will call you later. Some people don't have, you know, they have applied for a house lot, the document went missing, they need some lease being held up, and they don't have a birth certificate, NIS problems. We can assist with that. So please give them your name and number, and then hopefully we can talk again in the future. But good luck, and thank you very much.
Comrades, let me thank you very much and thank the VP on your behalf. What we'll do, we have some mics around. If you want to raise any issue before we start the payments, you have a chance now to raise it. We have the comrades who is moving around with the mic. We have 720 persons to be paid.
Yes, but and how many? Cleared up. Okay, all right. All right, so this is good, right?
Anybody want to raise any issue? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We got three fishing boats for Puerto Rico. They're Puerto Rico fisheries and the wharf is very broken up, and we need to back up the wharf and take the wharf. The wharf is low.
All right.
So
where you land?
At Puerto Rico fisheries, I finally stand on this one today.
So I should have mentioned this. We have some funds now because representation was made, and we have a number of wharf and also areas that will fix lights and make it more conducive for y'all to fly your trade. So that is one of the areas we'll do.
Yeah, I think the president also met with some other fishermen, because that's why they requested a few lights and upgrade the wharves and stuff. So there's a whole program to do that. So make sure that the minister, how soon I'd like it's in the tenor and state chair. All right. Here. Yeah, just take them. Take them.
Good afternoon, each and every one of you. Good afternoon, Mr. Minister, the Regional Chairman, and Mr. Sofar and Mr. Jack Joe. Thankful to hear that you are helping out the young people. I'm a father of 8 children. My name is Junior Conway. And I mean, this is fisherman here, but I have a daughter that passed, and we transfer her to Abrams, from Abramsville to the Demerara Secondary. And most of the reverend people are in need of dorms because some of them applied at recommended job for the house lot, and it's been delayed. We already paid off all the money that they asked for, and the house lot are not appropriated as yet. We have not given them, I don't know when, but we are asking you.
How much you paid for the house lot and when?
500,000 about.
And when was this?
Since you have given government, I'm most thankful. I got a call that the house lot will be sharing out. We went at Demerara Secondary.
So you went there and you paid up. Well, we will give your name and number so I can check where it is in the system now, specifically you. And we got to look at nurseries too, because in the dormitories, but a lot of number of people. So one already under construction at Lenora. So he's saying that the next term it will be open. And 8 children you got a lot of money to collect too in the future, man. At 50,000 by 400,000 dollars a year, yeah. Like you were planning you the PVP would have been in here.
Some of them are teenagers, but I'm poor and need help. And I'm asking you that they speed up the dormitory at Glenora. We need it.
Okay,
I need this tomorrow.
But he said from the next storm it would be open, right? Okay then. All right then. But give them your name and number, so all the other issues will call you, right? And then you can get it. But go on.
I don't know. I wasn't called for the fisherman. As you said, rightly said, I'm not doing one thing because I have a lot of children. I'm thankful to the government. I'm a security at the health center in Aleki, and I'm a farmer. I have children to support, and I query. I don't know if I have my son here. This is the eldest son out of 8, and I have a son that I purchase. I support them in a way that they can assist me back in, and I don't know in querying now if my name Junior Conway and Melvin Conway, and you have other people from Aleki too who are going to say they're dedicated fishermen, and the name is not on the list at this time.
All right. But we gotta verify. This is for fishermen. You gotta verify fishermen that it's a fisherman. I know some people. If they catch one fish with a hook, right? We're not that set of people. So what happened if your name is not on the list today? Go and give your one desk. We'll have one desk specifically dedicated. Which desk? It's a desk in there that will be dedicated to that. We'll have to verify it. All right? And then because it's taxpayers' money too. So we have to verify it, and then you'll get here back from us. All right, so go to the query desk, and you'll put down your name.
I'll talk to Mr. Jackson and other ministers, and I'm looking forward for y'all. You all have been great. In Aleki, I must say, hands up for y'all.
All right. All right, then. Thank you. So you must give your name and number. Right, please come.
Good afternoon. Start from we like to divorce quickly all the time, very bad.
I can't hear you.
The Borsier Bridge. It's quick to go. It's very bad. It's soft and wood and free.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So What's going on?
We like to take out.
So what? A man is saying the bursary quick outfall is.
Black off it, black off it, plain flat grass.
All right, go and visit. He'll come and visit you. When can you go? Let me get a time now.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, what time? All right, 1 o'clock tomorrow. Get the residents there.
Yeah,
All right, to meet you. All right, okay, tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Yes. If, right. Yeah, sure. How many, well, before you think, just take a seat, 1 minute, keep the mic. How many people in here is fishing so now? Low waters. Just put up your hand. Nobody here, because you know we got a big fight with these people here. They're treating our fishermen badly. We got a big battle with them now. So I'm not going to deal with that issue here. Go on, come on.
Yeah, we got a big problem with sports development in the community. We got a playground, but it's bare bush.
How many? You got a youth group there? A big youth group?
We got
A CDC?
farmers group with farm yard.
The farmers group?
Yeah.
All right, but so make a note of that. Right, give them your name and number, and I'm going to send somebody in to see what they can do. Okay? So just give them your name and number. I'll repeat. Yes. Yes, let's come right here. Look at here. All right, I know the others are eager to collect, right? The thing, give them a chance.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Minister, Chairman, and everybody. I come to your meeting about a lot of times, and I put on my name, and then when I got to the Minister, Mr. Indar, he write the Commissioner of Land Survey, and he is not giving them no answer. And we got a problem since the lumberyard and so on. Up to now, we don't get this piece of it. Right? We got a license.
Yeah, but listen, the issue, is it a public reserve? Is it a reserve, government reserve?
Same reserve.
No. Is it a government reserve? I can't remember all the details. But if it's a government reserve, that's the problem. You got a hard time getting it. So I don't know, because the law says you can't get entitled to a government reserve.
No, it's not title. They're giving me a license. Just like what you give me at the forest. When they make the market and the car park, they take the place and everything. And a little piece of
yeah, to put lumber stuff. I don't know what the plans are for the area, because I know we want to develop the entire area. We don't want necessarily everybody to.
No, it's not good. It's a little business for the daughter.
Okay, well, all right. I can look at it. Let me tell you, I don't like to promise things that we can't deliver. You know my style.
Yes.
I will never promise you to fix something if you can't. I prefer to be truthful to you. If you can't get it, but I will personally look into it, and you will get a clear answer, yes or no, so you can move on with your life, one way or another. But I personally look into it. I can promise you that. All right. So make sure that when I see him, I look into the issue personally, so I can then tell him one way or another, yes or no. Right?
I appreciate it.
All right, then. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, right. But I can't promise here, right? Yeah. All right.
Good afternoon, Charlie and Minister. I work in very good. In the talk I have million times.
All right, then, thanks.
And this can they work they give, right? So people in the community.
NDIA.
Yeah, the people in the community. So for that, you put food for the table, and the people that are responsible for the work, the people can put food 5 times on the table, right? I live in a
You were a SIP worker?
Yeah.
You were working on one of those?
No, I'm a politician, I'm a safety. It's a contract about the past.
Okay, yes, but why is it? So you're saying the contracts are given to
People are looking after the scheme now to give people the work, giving people the high class people the work.
Oh,
And
okay.
giving the people work out for breakfast.
all right, give me the area and I'll look into it.
Tuition housing scheme.
Tuition housing scheme. So I want you to look into it and see exactly what's going on. So come and see the regional chairman and tell him the details.
What side I got to go in there at that table?
When can you go? When you come? 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, go to the office.
So I got people go, so you got to go work.
All right, any day you come in, take his number. Make sure you all get his number. Right, take his number and send it to the regional chairman. All right?
669-7113.
All right, okay, all right. So, all right, when you come back, right? Make sure you see him, all right. All right, and if you don't get through, when the next time you come back, come and see me.
See you.
Okay. All right. All right. Yes. All right, that's it. All right. Okay then. All right then, comrades. So let's move because this thing will take a long time to give out the checks. There's a lot of people, over 700 people here. So it'll take a while. So thank you very much. Thank you. I gotta go to the other program. Thank you very much. I'm going to the other area. Thank you.